Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Another round of Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
It's so wonderful to join together here in person in the Schuster family courtyard of Temple Bat Yahm, out in the open, and having each other here in person and also online. The folks online, we can see you on a big screen TV. Even if you can't see all the people here, you can see Canna Grant and myself. Paul Zul is here as well. We've got a crew running the AV, the brothers Ross. And I don't know if we can get the camera to pan to the folks here, but maybe not. Maybe at some point you'll get to see who's here. Well, it's great to have you this Shabbat, and always we're going to get right into the service with the blessing over the candles, which can be found on page 121 and 120, as we welcome Shabbat with the Shabbat candle blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
And let's welcome Shabbat as our beloved with a classic melody. Lecha Dodi, page 138. We'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shabbat nekabela, shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'letiferet ve'litila. Le'adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, le'adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, likrat Shabbat lehu v'nelecha, ki mekor haberacha, merosh mikelem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tila. Le'adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, le'adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech, kumi ori, uri, uri, shir daveri, kevod Adonai alai nigla. Le'adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, le'adoni likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Face the entrance.
Bo'oi v'shalom ma'ateret ba'ala בשמחה ובצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך אדוני לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
And on page 146, we remain standing for the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. Please be seated, and let's continue on page 150 with Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, אהבת עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח לחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם בלילה, נגי יומם בלילה. ואהבתך תשים ממנו לעולמים.
Rise for the Shema, page 152.
ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Baruch Shema.
אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Please be seated. When our ancestors fled slavery in Egypt, they crossed the sea, and on page 158, they sang this song.
יפדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. Page 161, let's join together in the second reading. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence our acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. Page 162. Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. With that in mind, on page 164, we rise for the tefillah.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufia itehilatecha, baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל העליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, עזרת שרה. 168. אתה גיבור לעם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסירים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך מביט ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי העול. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Let's take some moments of silent reflection, the prayer on the page, or the prayer of the heart, and we'll join back together for our prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom. Friends, we turn our thoughts and prayers to those who are in need of healing, of body, of mind, of spirit, those suffering from and recovering from COVID, those awaiting and recovering from surgery, undergoing treatments, awaiting diagnoses, struggling with mental illness, infertility, grief, and substance abuse and addiction. Those at home, please add the names of loved ones to the list. So we join together, page 382, for those here, with our prayer for healing. This is the first Friday night in the secular month of February, and so it is this time that we invite those who are celebrating birthdays or anniversaries this month in February, if you're here, to rise in place, and those at home to raise your hand digitally or up against the camera, and we will try to spotlight you. I think Aaron Ross is by there, and he may do it. So we have Canna Grant. Any other takers? Yes, we do. Okay. We have a couple people here live, and anyone at home? I'm not seeing anyone. Oh, Carol at home. We need to spotlight her. I'm using a limited technology tonight, my iPad, so I can't spotlight people. Oh, Carol's there. Excellent. Well, February's a quiet month, but more blessing to share. Please remain standing. God of days and years, author of life, our times are in your hand. We thank you for the blessing of life and for all that enriches our days. We gather today in thankfulness as we share in the happiness of these individuals here in person and online, celebrating birthdays and anniversaries. May they be blessed with health and happiness. May they be blessed with the ability to appreciate every day of every year. May they continue to grow in strength, in wisdom, and in love. And may we all have the joy of celebrating together in person for many years to come. And we say, Amen. And now Cantor, whose birthday is this month, will lead us in Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashanim.
Amen.
Blessed are you, O God, who brings holiness into our years. And now we celebrate further with wine or grape juice as we turn to the Kiddush. Folks at home, please feel free to grab your wine, grape juice, or other beverage. In a Kiddush cup, we can see the seagulls are really getting into their wine tonight, as are the Leafs and the Feugl people. Let's see, who else is? Oh, Teresa McQueen has even taken her wine into the boardroom. Look at that. Okay. And those present, please rise for the Kiddush. Tirnak has something in a red solo cup. We're not even going to guess what that is. Could be anything.
Could be some kind of pathological
It's grape juice.
sample.
It's grape juice.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho me'ahava u'ratzon hinkilanu, zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit. Yom Tehillah Mikrai Kodesh, Zecher Netziat Mitzrayim, Ivanu V'chata, Otanu Kinasha, B'kol Amim, V'Shabbat Kodecha, Be'ahava U'ratzon, Hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
L'chaim.
L'chaim tovim. That is
It's always cold because we're outside and it's
a
chilly.
fruity little number, I'll tell
It
you.
is fruity. L'chaim, everyone. Please be seated. As we know, there are no coincidences in Judaism. When events coincide, there is always significance from which to take that confluence. As I mentioned, and we all know, this week is the beginning of February, but it's also two other significant events that we can think of that took place. Perhaps most important, this week was Groundhog Day, a day that reminds us that America is a unique place where our weather forecast is determined by a small rodent and its ability to see its shadow. But it's no coincidence that Groundhog Day this year coincided with Rosh Chodesh Adar, the first of the Hebrew month of Adar. And it's no coincidence that it was the first day of Adar, just regular Adar. It was the first day of Adar 1. You see, this year, the groundhog told us there's an extra month of Adar. At least that's the story I'm going with, Leona. Maybe we all think it was all about how long winter's going, but actually it's how long we spend in Adar, because this year is a leap year. And in the Hebrew calendar, when there's a leap year, we get an additional month of Adar, and specifically Adar 1. So we are in the extra month right now. And I think it couldn't happen in a better year than this year. We know from tradition, and we'll sing the song in a little bit, Mi sheniknas Adar marbim b'simcha. When we enter Adar, our joy is increased. And when there are 2 Adars, as there are this year, our joy is doubly increased. And we could really use that increased joy because there are a lot of things not to be so joyful about. Putting aside COVID and getting to like 900,000 people dead in this country, that's bad enough. But just from a Jewish point of view, why is Adar a time of joy? It is a time when we remember the events of Purim, as described in the book of Esther, where an evil man made up a conspiracy theory, a theory that these people, the Jews, had nefarious plans for the Persian Empire, and convinced a crazy king named Ahasuerus that the Jews needed to be exterminated. We could spend Purim schreien Gewalt, as my grandmother would say. But instead, we spend Purim and the entire month of Adar, and in this case, double Adar, being joyful. Because despite their attempts to destroy us, they failed. And now, as the anti-Semitic events and references here and around the world increase again, we need to muster our joy in the face of that, knowing how foolish their anti-Semitism is. Of course, it's dangerous. In no way am I wishing to belittle it. But sometimes we have to sit back and just laugh at it. Jewish lasers, Jews bringing about COVID, Jews running the American government. It's ridiculous. Such is the nature of the conspiracy theory of anti-Semitism. But these conspiracy theories, whether they come from the left or the right, can be harmful. Those with truly evil intent can convince those who are gullible, those who are looking for someone to hate, someone to blame. And they can take a ridiculous conspiracy theory and convince people that it's real and cause great harm, not only to the Jewish people, but to the entire world. Because we know when anti-Semitism rises, it's bad news for the society in which it is found. Just in the last few weeks, we had a hostage situation in a small temple in the suburbs of Dallas and Fort Worth. We had a horrendous announcement from Amnesty International slandering the only Jewish state, a vibrant, multi-ethnic, multi-religious democracy, the only one in the Middle East. And then we had Whoopi Goldberg. Now here comes trouble. Rabbi's going to wander into the Whoopi Goldberg controversy. I happen to not think that she meant harm. In Australia, you'll see where I'm going in a second. We mean something different when we say someone lucked out than you guys mean in America. I discovered this after misunderstanding that phrase several times here in the United States. You see, here, when you luck out, you get lucky. In Australia, when you luck out, you're out of luck, which frankly makes more sense. but I'm in America, so I understand. Poor Whoopi Goldberg was thinking about racism from an American perspective, where for the vast majority of our history, racism truly has meant the fabricated race associated with the color of skin. We know race isn't real. It's not a biological reality. It's a social construct. And in this country, its primary expression has been and continues to be about the color of skin. In Germany, the social construct of race, which was as ludicrous as the one here, put Jews in a racial group of subhumans, along with Slavs, along with Roma. Of course, we know Jews aren't a race. There are Jews of every color, every national origin, just about, many different cultures. But Whoopi Goldberg didn't realize that in history, in Germany, race was a different kind of thing than we mean here. And so, I'm glad to see that the ADL, for example, has come out and said, let's not cancel her, but let's counsel her. Let's take her apology as sincere, and let's use this opportunity to teach about racism and anti-Semitism and where they overlap and where they're different. Because we know that anti-Semitism is one of many forms of bigotry. And of course, the targets of bigotry are harmed by it. But I'm pretty sure Germany still regrets its actions. It didn't turn out too well for them. And we know that ultimately, like in the story of Esther and Purim, the bigots will not win. And so, as we embark on the double month of Adar, I think it is no coincidence, because we more than ever need to stand up against anti-Semitism, bigotry in all its forms, and we need to be joyful in the knowledge that those bigots aren't going to win. The conspiracy theories are built on ephemeral foundations that will fall in the face of reality. And so, conclude with the words that we share with each other as Adar enters, and then we're going to sing those words. Mi shenichnas Adar, marbim b'simcha. When Adar begins, our joy increases. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.
Amen. We sing it now.
We're going to sing it now.
And at the end?
And at the end.
Awesome. Can't sing this song too many times.
We'll get a little warm up now, and then we'll sing it again.
Repeat
at the
after me.
end. Okay.
Mi shenichnas
Mi shenichnas
Adar.
Adar.
And then we're going to repeat that line. Mi shenichnas Adar. Marbin
Marbin
besimcha.
besimcha.
That's it. Just a few words. You'll catch it.
Shemi, 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 shenichnas Adar.
Smiling on your mask.
Shemi, 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 shenichnas Adar. Ay, ay, ay. Shenichnas Adar, marim besimcha. Shenichnas continue with the theme of hope and joy as we turn to the Aleinu, page 586. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach Adon ha'kol. Shehu noten shamayim v'yoser haaretz, u'moshal v'karov ha'shamayim ima'al, u'shechinat uzor v'rov ha'meromim, u'Eloheinu Elohod, v'anachnu horeim, u'mishlachamim u'monim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, v'melech al kol haaretz, hayom yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Let's remain standing as we turn to page 598 for Kaddish Yatom. And folks at home can add names of loved ones to the chat. This Shabbat, we're in the Shiva mourning period for longtime member of the Temple Bat Yahm family who served and worked with us for many years in the office, Bonnie Irvin. We're in the Shloshim mourning period for Charlotte Gilbert, Edward Thomas Gramling, Regina Friedman, Douglas King, Louis Joseph Nick, Bob Saget, and Sandy Singer. This Shabbat, we're in the yard site, the anniversary of the deaths of William Abram, Rachel Bati, Leo Baum, Sally Bennett, Sheldon C. Berman, Marlene Berman, Michael Sully Besakoff, Jack Brook, Howard Ettinger, Sol Feldman, Rose Feldman, Harry Nathan Guild, Nathan Gus, Aaron Kagan, Owen Ike Kempler, Howard Frank Kopel, Robert Luskin, Clarita Mahler, Bernice Manister, Steve Marlin, Harry D. Pennon, Steve Price, Sebastiana Salazar, Maury Schwartz, Harry Schuster, Sivya Tabachman, Tom Tucker, and Rachel Yelperovich. Remember also those who've died as a result of baseless hatred, including anti-Semitism, and those almost 900,000 who've died from COVID-19 in this country. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for an abiding blessing. Page 598, together, Yitgadal v'Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. V'yamad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach l'olam u'lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ah v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei d'kudsha brichu. Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Amiran v'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. U'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
Amen.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say,
Amen.
Please be seated. All except past president, the Sir Kobe Sonnenschein, with a few words of welcome and some announcements. Shabbat Shalom, Sir
Shabbat
Kobe.
Shalom. Thank you for joining us, whether it's in person or online. And a thank you to our clergy, Rabbi Zilberman and Cantor Grant, Paul Zuhl on piano, Matthew Ross, and Sue Penn and Greg and Steve for ushering us so beautifully tonight. This weekend, we have Torah study tomorrow at 9 a.m., led by Rabbi Phillips, and J-Cal on Sunday, followed by coffee and chat also at 9 o'clock. 9:30, pardon me. Glad you're here, Rabbi. Adult Ed has quite a bit coming up. This Tuesday, we continue our tour of Israel with Michael Hollander. We have History of Zionism in Israel, specifically this Tuesday. And then Wednesday nights, we have quite a bit coming up here at the temple. The Foundations of Judaism continues, 6 o'clock. We have, I think, 4 left. This week, we'll be discussing Jewish History, Part 1. And Rabbi will lead his Wednesdays with the Rabbi at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. We ask you to save the date for the following Wednesday, when our own Ted Cooper will lead us in a discussion of threats, vulnerabilities, and security, all of which we take quite seriously here at Temple Bat Yahm. Next Shabbat, we have a Shabbat Junior at 5 p.m., led by Rabbi Phillips and Kenner Waltzman. And following that Shabbat Junior, WTBY and members of our female clergy will be leading a special Shabbat at 6 p.m., including the premiere performance of our women's choir, Sisters of the Sea. If any women are interested in joining that choir, there is still room available. February 22nd, we have our next Chai Tea, and that will be special because Pacific Symphony violinist and TBY member Marla Joy Weishar and our very own Paul Zuhl will be performing. And then a lot more coming up here. We'll just do some save the dates real quick. End of the month, February 27th, we have Jewish Movie Night, Israel Folk Dancing on March 4th and 5th. Purim's coming up, Megillas and Martini on March 16th, the famous Carnival March 20th, and after a 2-year postponement, at the end of the month on March 27th, we're back with Kenner Grant, Bema to Broadway and beyond. So please hold the date for all the wonderful things we have coming up at Temple Bat Yahm.
Thank you, Kobe.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thanks so much.
Shabbat Shalom.
So just a reminder, tomorrow morning's Torah study will be online, and Coffee Talk is in person. Tuesdays online, Wednesdays online. We're working on it. Before we get to our closing song, which you already know what that is, we have challah for those who are present, and maybe those at home have challah too. Let's see who has challah at home. We see Rob and Audrey Greenfield have challah. You can see it on the screen there. Feugl people have challah, and I think it's Galia's got a birthday this month too, right? Did I get that right? Yep. Let's see. We got the Katzes. Sadie has a challah. And everyone else has their cameras off. Okay. And Cantor will now lead us in the Motzi, thanking God for bringing forth bread from the earth, saying,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. A good appetite to all.
And our closing song, Misha Nichnas Adar Marbin B'Simcha. When we enter Adar, especially when it's 2 Adars, our Simcha, our joy increases. Please rise and let's join together in this song. Shabbat Shalom.